This time I have an Electrohome VCR. This is an EH8003. This one was given to me. I was told it has not been turned on in about a dozen years, so I don't know if it works or not. I know nothing about it. We're going to pull it apart before I even try to power it up and give it a good inspection and see if this one works. Now, Electrohome used to be made by Mitsubishi, but this one here I believe was made by somebody else. Let's check it out. This time I have an Electrohome VCR. Now, Electrohome at one time was made by Mitsubishi because to get into Canada they had to pick up a failing company back in the 80s. That was the Canadian government embargo on Japanese manufacturers. You couldn't bring your product into Canada unless you picked up a Canadian company that was on the brink. So what they did was they picked up, or Mitsubishi bought Electrohome, and they sold under the Electrohome brand for a number of years. Then they brought the Mitsubishi brand in too, which were identical, but I believe this is after Mitsubishi's involvement. And it looks like I'm correct because it says imported by Jutan International Limited, made in Thailand. So I wonder who made this unit. I'm not going to plug it in until we open it up and take a look and see what's inside here. I am told that this unit has not been powered up in about 12 years. So there could be anything wrong with it. I doubt that it's functional because having not been used for 12 years, there's probably going to be problems. Mode switch for sure, maybe some belts. And it's interesting to see who actually made this unit. This one was given to me, so it's my machine to fix, and then I can probably put it on the market. Oh, there's a tape in it. Because they didn't know there was a tape in the unit when they took it out of service. And the tape is stuck to the head drum. The head drum will not turn. Like it's completely stuck. When I mean stuck, it's stuck. You have to peel the tape off the drum and we'll remove it. I'll power it up and see whether it even powers up. Is it going to eat this tape? Probably. I won't know until I apply power. Or is it even going to turn on? Or is power going to do anything? And it does not appear that power does anything. Oh, hey, well that part worked. Okay. Will the tape come out? Well, not really. Kind of wound around here. Okay, now the tape came out. I think first things first, I'm going to clean the mode switch before I try anything, and of course we're going to clean that drum because that tape was completely stuck to it. I guess first things first, I'll remove the front face. Come off on this, all these clips on the front sides and our top sides and bottom. We'll just pop these clips and these clips. One plug right there. Alright, what comes off on this next? Looks like there's a couple screws in the chassis that should, maybe 3 screws? 3 screws should hold the chassis, and I don't know whether the board has to come out or not. On this design, I see Yeah, I just see the 3 screws. So that might lift the entire board out with it, but let's remove them. There's one back here. I'm hoping it plugs in. It looks like it might. There's plastic alignment pins on here that, and these screws look to be pretty long. Looks like they go right down through the chassis, which they do. So these 3 screws probably hold. I don't know if the board comes out at this point or not, but these 3 long screws that go down through the chassis here. Almost get it. Almost get. There we go. We got it. We got it. Alright, now what lifts off? Does the chassis lift off? Or does the whole board come off? I think the chassis lifts off. We'll unplug the motor for the head drum. Unplug the control head. Last video when I was doing the load test on that amplifier, I had my scope probe connected to the resistor that got hot as a firecracker. It actually melted my scope probe. That test cost me 50 bucks. Melted my scope probe. There is the chassis itself. Oh, I didn't even have to remove that one because that one just goes to a little circuit board on the bottom. Look at that. So here's the chassis. And hey, I like this. I'm liking this machine. I'm really liking this machine. Who made this? Was this Funai? I'm liking it. I'm loving it. Look at this. Oh man. This is a great design. This is for a modern machine. What year was this thing made? What year? Does it say here what it was? It's got to be a late model. So in other words, it's one to keep. But model number EH8003. It only consumes 9 watts of power. Made in Thailand, imported by Ju10 International. And I don't see a date on here. On that sticker, is there a date code on the board? I'm going to think that this has got to be mid 2000s, probably near the end of the run. Is it Funai? Look at the tiny little power transformer. I mean, I remember transistor radios having a bigger transformer than that in them for their speaker. But this is what makes me say this is a great machine from the design of it. No mode switch. It's optical sensors right there and there, and this is the rotation sensor for the take-up spool. And if you look on the bottom of the chassis, you'll see that the take-up sensor is right there. It goes through a slot there so it can detect the rotation. I don't see one for the supply spool, but it looks like there were models that actually had one for the supply spool, and those ones would be able to calculate out how much tape was left, and they would also be the ones that had the super high-speed rewind, because you need to see the speed of both the take-up and the supply reel in order to set the speed accordingly. This one probably just rewinds at 1 speed. But here's your optical sensors, and they just read slots on the cam gear right here. You'll see the slots on there. They read those slots, and that's how it knows what position the mechanism is in. How is the belt? Belt is fine. Oh, look at that. Lots of torque. Metal chassis, I love it. It's got a couple plastic gears, namely the worm gear and the main primary and the cam gear. The reduction gears here for the load motor. Main slide is metal. It does have plastic parts on it down here. The guides are plastic. These gears are plastic, but you know what? They're not going to give you trouble. They're not going to give you trouble. This looks to be a really well-built machine. I'm thinking it probably was made by Funai, because they were the last company making VCRs. They made them for pretty much everybody. So I have a sneaking suspicion this one is a Funai machine. But we'll clean it, and oh, look at it's got a head cleaning wheel over here, but the head cleaning wheel is not It has not gone bad. It is a plastic type one. It's not a foam one. So that probably is okay. And I say it just lines up with these two plastic posts back here and the tape end sensor LED. Just drop that through its appropriate slot in the chassis and line up the other pins, and it drops into place and it's held in by 3 screws. I like it. It couldn't be any simpler. And reliability wise, this thing here would be as good as anything else. Probably a little bit better because of the reduced count of parts. I know there's guys out there that will love the old JVC machines from the 1980s and try to convince everybody that what they paid for theirs was a reasonable amount, and that whatever the price was, it was good because, you know, the 1980s machine is better. Well, they're not better. The best VCRs were the last ones to come off the production line, and the reason for that was strictly because the reduced part count. And when you're dealing with something mechanical like a VCR, the fewer parts it's got, the more reliable it's going to be. And as you just saw, this thing has a really low part count. And it's very energy efficient at only 9 watts. I remember some of the old machines, like going back to the 80s, right? I mean, they would draw more than 9 watts on standby just to run the damn clock, believe it or not. Some of them were quite power intensive. You'd see a HiFi VCR power consumption 65 watts or 75 watts was not uncommon. 9 watts. You wonder how they got the power consumption so low. I'm just going to throw the front faceplate on, then we'll hook it up to the TV and see if this thing actually works. And it might. Looking at the actual mechanism itself and how well this thing appears to be built, I wouldn't be surprised if this thing works without any issues whatsoever. Gonna plug the front controls back in here. Alright, let's hook it up and see what it does. Okay, I got the unit powered up. It turns on. I'm just going to try my color bar tape into it. This plasma is probably going to cause major interference. I have not cleaned anything or anything yet. I just want to see if it plays. Oh, it does. It plays, and it plays fine. Color bars look good on it. It's working. I mean, the picture looks like VHS. You know, it's like, you can't do much about that. Looks like crappy VHS, but it plays, and that's really all that matters. We got fast forward, 2-speed, or I should say search forward, search reverse, 2-speed. Does not have a pause key. The remote control would be needed for that, which I don't have. But it will record. You can change the channel and change it to line input on the front, so it will work to record. Not that anybody would ever record on VHS. And, of course, good old regular fast forward and rewind. Speaking of recording on VHS, you know, I tell people, don't record stuff on tape. You should not be using tape for anything these days. There's full rewind. And it goes that fast. And we'll go fast forward. See, no tape spilling or anything. Back to play. I tell people, don't put stuff on tape. We're past tape. if you've got existing tapes that you need to transfer, then great, the machines are great for that. But don't be recording stuff on tape, especially don't be recording anything important. And I know someone's going to say, oh, I do it for the aesthetics of it. I want it to look vintage. Well, I'll tell you a little story. I just had somebody call me up about their camera. They were still using an analog camera to make recordings. And they just recorded their friend's wedding about 3 weeks ago. They were the only one there with a video camera. Because they were there with their video camera, everybody thought they were the hired pro, which they weren't. They were just a friend of the bride and groom. But they were recording it, and because they had this relatively large, full-size SVHS camera, AG450 I think was the model of it, everybody thought, oh, they got a good camera, they're going to get better quality than we are. Nobody bothered to pull out their phones and record anything, and they recorded the entire wedding on this camera. And then when they went to try to play it back, well, they had sound, but there was no picture. So they lost it. They lost everything. I got the call because they wanted me to try to play the tape back because they were unable to play it on the camera. And when I tried to play it, well, I got snow. So it was like, yeah, there's nothing here. There's just sound. The camera had malfunctioned. And their response was, well, you know, we'd used it and it worked. We'd been using it, and we had the picture in the viewfinder. Everything looked fine there. Well, old electronics, right? I said, my question was, did you make a recording and attempt to play it back immediately before loading that tape to film somebody's wedding? No, we didn't try that. Well, there's your problem. All these old electronic devices, they can fail without any warning. There was no warning lights that came on. Everything sounded and looked normal, but somewhere in the video circuit, there was no signal recorded. There was chroma on the tape. You could see flashing colors, but there was no video signal. This thing just stuck to the tape there. Might be the drum needs to be cleaned. I just saw that, either that or something on the tape. But I just saw something kind of glitch there. The fact that this was sticking to the drum, though, the other tape was sticking to the drum, I do need to clean it, so we'll do that. We'll eject the tape and clean it, and I will put this one into my collection of reusable machines. And because it's a more modern machine, you can see the crap on the drum there I got to clean off. Because it's a more modern machine, this will definitely be one that I will be hanging on to, because being in the archive business, you want modern machines, not old machines. And this one looks to be pretty good quality from what I can see for a modern machine. Lots of metal. It's even got a PG adjustment to adjust the PG shift on it. I think that's the only adjustment on the entire board. Everything else is automatic. The tracking is automatic. But it looks good. Playing back good. So let's clean the heads and then I'll end this one. Yeah, they were quite dirty. Play my tape on it just to make sure everything's good. Looks perfect. Yep, so that one's another one that I saved from the scrap bin. Not much wrong with it, needed a cleaning, and that's about it. Removed the tape that was stuck to the drum, and that would either be either something was spilt on the tape, something sticky, or it just, when it was shut down, it was still in the loaded position, and just after 12 or so years sitting unused, the binder broke down and leached onto the head drum and stuck. More than likely that's what happened. Anyway, this one's a working machine. It's fixed, and it's probably good for many more years, because I doubt that it had a lot of use when it was in use. The tape that was stuck in there was actually a tape from the previous owner, and it looks to be like some classroom recordings of university stuff. lectures and so forth. But anyway, the tape itself is damaged. I can't play it. It's screwed up right at that point where it was stuck. The tape itself is damaged. If I try to play it, it'll just stick at that same point. Anyway, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.